What's going on, everybody? This is Gen716 back here again, and today I want to talk to you guys about my personal top 5 breakout players for the University of Alabama, right? Players that are, players that really haven't seen a lot of playing time, players that maybe do have the playing time, but not a lot of people notice these names. And, some of these guys are going to be sophomores, juniors, seniors, redshirt, right, fifth-year options, maybe sixth-year option. I'll even include freshmen too. I was thinking about not doing that, but I'll even include some freshmen. So just some notable names that I will definitely include for Tide Nation. So anyway, guys, let's hop straight into this thing. So we're going to start off with number 5, and that is, of course, quarterback Bryce Young from Modern Day. This is a player that a lot of Bama fans has huge expectations for, that they expect him to take the starting spot for Mac Jones. Of course, that's not going to be an easy position because Mac Jones has proven himself to be a reliable starter for the Alabama Crimson Tide, of course, right? He did a great job against Auburn, did a great job against Michigan, right? Had his starts against Arkansas. He started around 4 or 5 games for the Alabama Crimson Tide after Tua Tagovailoa's injury, and he has done an absolute phenomenal job for the Alabama Crimson Tide. So that's going to be a tough thing to do for Bryce Young to really steal it. But you're talking about Bryce Young, one of the top 5, not top 5, but somewhere around the ballpark in top 10 highest rated quarterback prospects of all time, right? According to 247 Sports composite list. You're talking about a guy with a lot of experience that's played against some of the best high school competition on the planet, and a guy that's really dominated high school football. So he's a guy that's going to come in here as far as developed, probably than any other high school freshman quarterback maybe ever, and that's including Tua Tagovailoa. Right, he's going to walk into a scheme with Steve Sarkisian that fits perfectly with Bryce Young. He still has the weapons with Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, and of course the Alabama offensive line, which is going to be one of the best offensive lines in the country. Right, the weapons and Najee Harris, Trey Sanders potentially right there backing him up. So Bryce Young is going to walk into a situation where if he does win the starting quarterback job, he's going to have some of the best weapons in college football, and a guy that definitely has the tools to be that Trevor Lawrence type of player where he can break out as a freshman. Of course, he might have some hurdles to definitely deal with. He still is a true freshman, but overall wise, he's going to be on this list because he has a phenomenal opportunity to be the new starting quarterback for Alabama. I think that's definitely going to be an open job going into the 2020 season. Moving on to number 4. Number 4 is going to be Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe's a guy that is very, very interesting because, right, we saw him play against Michigan. We saw him last year in the Clemson game. We saw him as more as a rotational player for Alabama throughout this entire year. You're talking about a guy with phenomenal intangibles, 6'1", 192 pounds. I think he's actually gained some weight, has a lot of muscle mass on him, long, very lengthy arms, great instincts as a corner. A guy that has, that's still got to work on some technical issues, but a guy with a lot of promise. And we did see him play okay in the Michigan game again. It's a great experience because you're playing against guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones, just some of the best receiving talent in the country for what the Michigan Wolverines had, and he was going against those guys. So Josh Jobe's a guy that could very well be that starter. I think there's going to be a fight between him and Ronald Jones for one of the starting outside cornerback positions. Cornerback roles. So he's going to have to fight for that. But Josh Jobe, I believe that if he wins this job, I think he could be a breakout player. Again, he has all the intangibles. He has the weight. He has the muscle mass. He's a great tackler in open space. And he has some ball skills to him. So Josh Jobe moving into number 4, especially with the absence of Trayvon Diggs out, they need a player that can step in, fill those shoes. I think Josh Jobe could be the player that can do it. Moving on to number 3, we're going to move on to the tight end position. That's going to be Jaleel Billingsley. Bama has been missing that number 1 tight end for the last last season. Of course, Irv Smith Jr. was the last great tight end that they had. And again, when you have a guy with the intangibles like Irv Smith Jr. and you put him in this type of offense with the quarterback given to him, Irv Smith Jr. put up some great numbers. Jaleel Billingsley is a guy that has legitimate around 4.6 type of speed, around 6'4", gained some weight, so I think he's close to 235 pounds now, has great hands. So again, the athleticism is there. I think at this point it's just the experience. He needs more experience. But you look at the tight end position, Miller's Forrestal. Just don't think he can be that guy. I don't think, I just don't really think that anybody at the tight end position is gonna fill in the shoes that Irv Smith Jr. did. Maybe besides Jaleel Billingsley. Again, this is a guy with a lot of athletic upside for him, and a guy that's for what we've been hearing, he's been one of the best receiving backs that Alabama's had. He just needs to be that complete player like an Irv Smith Jr. or an O.J. Howard has done for the University of Alabama. So I like Billingsley a lot. I think he's a guy that I just think he needs more experience. But if he can step up, become closer to a complete tight end, improving his game, I think Jaleel Billingsley could be that #1 tight end that Alabama has been needing, because the tight end position is going to be important for this year. Last year wasn't that much so. They just really needed a blocking tight end because they already had 4 receivers. But this year, because of the absence of Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy, I think the tight end position is going to be very, very crucial if Alabama is going to, if they want to get where they want. And obviously that's winning a national championship. So moving on to the next slot, we're going to talk about Tyrell Shavers. Man, it's about damn time Tyrell Shavers steps up, man. I mean, this is a guy that's 6'6", 220 pounds, athletic freak, 4'4", I think he's actually closer to 4'3" type of speed. Has a great vertical jump, long, lengthy arms. The intangibles are there. He just needs to put them together. And this is the opportunity to show that Tyrell Shavers could be a huge contributor to this offense. I'm not saying he's going to have around 50 or 60 catches, but at least be a contributor for this offense. Again, Jerry Jeudy is gone. Henry Ruggs is gone. It's only Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. The receiving room is still there. The talent is still there. But Bama has been missing that big jump ball type of receiver. The last one they had was really Cam Sims. And Cam Sims, even though he wasn't a huge contributor for the Alabama Crimson Tide, still, they need a reliable guy that can go up there in red zone situations and be that type of player. The closest thing they had was Henry Ruggs as your red zone receiver. He was 6 feet tall. Getting that 6'6" guy with the athletic ability that Tyrell Shavers has, the size that he has, I think will be crucial, especially in red zone situations for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Again, Mac Jones and Bryce Young has excellent arm strength, but I think their deep ball accuracy is very underrated. And again, Tyrell Shavers could be that deep vertical threat, that red zone threat that Alabama has been missing since Julio Jones. Moving on to the next spot, we're going to talk about Christian Barrmore. He was a contributor last year. He's a guy that a lot of Alabama fans definitely took notice, but Christian Barrmore is a player that has a lot of upside to him. He can be better. Could he be that breakout player that Raekwon Davis, that we thought that Raekwon Davis could be? Could he be that next Quinnen Williams type of player? Well, I don't think that anybody's going to be Quinnen Williams, at least for quite a while. But Christian Barrmore could be that next big player, right? He arguably was our best interior pass rusher last year. He was a guy that definitely filled in two-gap situations. There were times where he played at the 1, he played at the 3 technique, played at the 0, and he was absolutely he improved his game. You saw it week by week by week. Could Christian Barrmore be that next guy? I think it's going to have to be, right? If you look at Alabama's if you look at their national championship runs, they've always had that defensive lineman at the 3 or the 1 that was just dominant. That was just a guy that could do both. That could both be a great interior pass rusher and also could be that great run stuffer inside. Christian Barrmore has the size, he has the athletic ability, but most importantly, he has the motor, right? He has that motor, that drive to be better and to always get in the backfield. And sometimes it can lead to penalties, but sometimes I'll take that at times because he's angry. The dude is always angry when he plays. He plays like he has something to prove. So I think that Christian Barrmore, the drive, the competitive nature that he has, I think is better than Raekwon Davis. I think Raekwon Davis kind of slacked off a little bit on his game. I think Christian Barrmore is a guy that still has a lot to more prove, and especially because he's going to be a draft-eligible player this year, I think Christian Barrmore could be that next big defensive lineman for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Moving on to the outside linebacking position, we need outside pass rushers. I like Kevin Harris, and I know a lot of people are looking at guys like Trey Sanders and Quindarius Robinson. I definitely think that, but I definitely like Kevin Harris. I like Kevin Harris a lot. Will Anderson too. Will Anderson's a true freshman, but both these players, I'm going to combine these players both because Kevin Harris is a guy that coming out of Grayson High School from Georgia. The dude was an absolute monster coming off the edge, and the best thing about Kevin Harris was his speed, right? The dude has legit 4.5 speed, has great bend, great intangibles. He gained weight during the offseason, so that's really, really good for Kevin Harris. As well, Will Anderson's almost the same similar type of player, maybe not with the speed, but a guy that is more, I would say, more developed, I would even say, than Kevin Harris coming out of high school, because Will Anderson's a guy that could be an edge setter, but also could be a force as an interior, as a guy that you can actually put in the interior, right? We've seen some of them in those camps where they put him in the interior and he was an absolute force. Now he's going to have to gain some weight, of course, but the fact that that versatility comes with Will Anderson is something that Nick Saban and, of course, my goodness, yeah, something that Nick Saban and, of course, this defensive coaching staff, they're going to take a hold of. They're definitely gonna work with that. So of course he still needs to develop his game as an outside pass rusher. Still needs to have some moves there. But I like Will Anderson a lot. He was one of the most dominant players there at the Nike Open and Regional Finals and what we saw during the All-American Games. And of course, for what we've been hearing now, is that Will Anderson's a guy in the weight room that's an absolute force. So I like Will Anderson and Kevin Harris to potentially be the next big pass rushers. Of course, there's also a guy like Christopher Allen there that's waiting in the looms. There's Ben Davis, who we've all been waiting for. But I like Kevin Harris, and I also like Will Anderson, guys, pass rushers that could definitely get out there and dominate for us. We've been missing that. We really haven't had that since Ryan Anderson and Tim Williams. Maybe these two players could absolutely be the force that we've been waiting for. And then last but not least, as far as the breakout players, I like Trey Sanders. Everybody, Trey Sanders did not, if he didn't break his foot, what would have happened? I think Trey Sanders would have been the number 2 guy. I think Trey Sanders is a 5-star recruit and the former number 1 running back in the country. He has the athletic ability. He has the size. He has the wiggle. He has the elusiveness. He has the vision. He has the footwork. He has everything you need in a running back. Again, he still needs to develop his game, of course. Not everyone's perfect. But Trey Sanders is a guy that I believe can be that next big back for Bama. We are the offensive lineman. At this point, we just need the talent. Trey Sanders, I think, is that talent there. One thing that we've been missing from Najee Harris is that big explosiveness, that guy that can get you 50, 60, 70-yard runs, right? Najee Harris is not that guy. He's more of a power runner that also has some elusiveness, some wiggle to him. Trey Sanders is a home run threat, and that's what we've been missing. Now, of course, Brian Robinson is that guy too, but I think that Trey Sanders is just more talented. I think he's more developed at the running back position right now than Brian Robinson as far as looking at the whole vision, elusiveness. I think Brian Robinson is that classic power back that also has speed, but Trey Sanders is that more complete back that's also very important in the receiving game as well. So I like Trey Sanders a lot. I think he can definitely be a breakout player for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Anyway, guys, if you guys liked the video, definitely hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe. I understand this was a long one, but still, just a lot of players in my mind that I definitely think could be breakout players for the Crimson Tide. Some other notable names are guys like Shane Lee and Christian Harris that can definitely step up to the plate as well. I like those players a lot. DeMarco Hellams is a guy that can definitely fill in the role for Xavier McKinney. But those were the names that just definitely popped up to me that I mentioned earlier. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Stay safe. This is Gen 716. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Roll Tide.